The following is a presentation of Learfield IMG College.
This is Duck Insider.
Give it to Verdell. He's got the first down and go. Duck fans start celebrating. Oregon is the 2019 Pac-12 champion. 2020 Rose Bowl champion.
Richardson, another open three. Good. Duarte dribbles and slams with the right hand. For the third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions. Outright champ.
Foley three. Good. Foley ball. Out Shelley. Three ball. Good. Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you, and welcome inside the Casanova Center on another smoky day, unfortunately, throughout the Willamette Valley and really throughout the entire state of Oregon. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for joining us. We begin with kind of a somber note, to be honest with you. Wildfires continue to rage all around us, and frankly, sports are on the back burner. Sports are just not seeming all that important right now with the loss of potentially life, the loss of homes. I think everybody's thinking about that right now. We're live in the 1 o'clock hour for those of you who are tuning in via YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter and Periscope. Maybe you're listening on Goducks.com or via the Goducks Game Day app. But because we've got our Oregon Sports Network affiliate stations that pick up the show later on throughout the day, depending on where it fits into their programming calendar, I don't want to give any, quote-unquote live updates on where the evacuation orders are, what's going on. But I can tell you that as it stands right now at 1 o'clock, the Eugene-Springfield area is certainly feeling it with evacuations all around us, and now even in East Springfield, people are on alert, if you will. I'm one of those people. My wife is currently waiting for the word to take off out of the driveway, leave the sprinkler on, and leave the ladder sitting in the front of the house so that firefighters can use it should they need to. I encourage everybody to have a plan. I encourage everybody to think about where they'll head, where they'll go. Remember to take some food for the animals, all those different things that you always hear and you think, yeah, I'll think of that. Start thinking about it more and more. Thinking about the firefighters that are out there too. The latest as of the 1 o'clock hour is that normally a fire of this size burning east of us here in the Eugene-Springfield area, and that's not the only one throughout the state of Oregon. I'm very much in tune with that as well, with Medford feeling a lot of pain down there as well. Fire burning immediately east of Roseburg and immediately east of Salem. There's a lot going on. But as it pertains to the Holiday Farm Fire, which is the name of the one in the immediate Eugene-Springfield area, a lot of folks are on alert. And normally there'd be about 1,000 firefighters or more on a blaze like this, but resources are scarce because the entire West Coast is burning. So I'm thinking about those firefighters that are out there right now. I've got a few friends who are firefighters, my father and my uncle, a lot of my family, my grandfather, my other uncle, all firefighters. So obviously this sits close to me, and I wanted to start today's show with that, thinking about everybody who is dealing with this right now. Beyond Duck fans, everybody. We're one community, and we're thinking about you. As the wildfires continue to rage, that ongoing wildfire activity has led to very, very unhealthy air in the entire valley. And as it pertains here at Oregon, the medical staff here at Oregon has already advised no workouts for obvious reasons. With that 24-hour AQI, that's the air quality index for Eugene, sitting at 464. That scale stops at 500. And there were reports of well over 500, and there's actually a AQI monitor in Autzen Stadium. It was installed a few years ago when the Nebraska game was in jeopardy. Everybody remembers when the smoke was filling the valley and the Nebraska game was in jeopardy. Well, that's part of why that monitor was installed at Autzen Stadium, because there are certain guidelines, as we've discussed in the past, that for the Pac-12 air quality guidelines, if you're above the red zone, which is above 200 on that scale, then you can't play. That's just bad for everybody. I will say, too, that I was I was actually doing some preparation around my house this morning wearing one of the N95 masks. It was white, and it was dark gray, almost black when I came back inside after 3 hours. That just shows you the quality of the air around us right now. So beyond sports, it's usually bad when we start a sports show talking about something that isn't sports-related and, frankly, isn't all that fun. And I know sports is supposed to be an escape, but it just didn't feel right to come on here, and especially with a pandemic still spreading around us and fires and everything else, it just didn't feel right to come on and start the show on that kind of a note, not with everything that's going on around us. Stay safe. Follow the local government agencies. If you have not signed up for emergency alerts, please do so. It is a big help, especially as many of us have phones like this now instead of a traditional landline. It's important to do that. And everybody around the state of Oregon, around the entire West Coast, thinking about you. And if you can help, the Red Cross is, of course, taking donations at the various evacuation centers, but check on social media, check on the Red Cross website before you go, because there are certain things they probably have too much of, and the logistics of taking those things in can be difficult. A lot of times monetary donations go the furthest for the Red Cross. So stay up to date with your local government agencies, particularly those of us in Lane County as the fires continue to rage. And I got to tell you, this does give me flashbacks to that week where we were all talking about, what if the AQI is so bad around here that you can't play the Nebraska game? What's going to happen? You know, do you play the game? I remember all these different theories. You play the game on the coast, you play it in Lincoln, and you flip-flop the years and just all these different things. And I will say, we're here sitting on Wednesday, which normally would have been the last day that we talk to the Oregon football players after practice, getting ready for a Saturday game. They would have been finishing up a hard-hitting workout on a Wednesday. Then it would have been a slower workout on a Thursday. And then, of course, the Fast Friday with the scout team scrimmage, developmental squad scrimmage, and then a walkthrough. Well, it's Wednesday, and we're sitting here with an AQI that's in the hazardous territory. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking about what would it have been like if we didn't have a pandemic and we didn't have COVID-19. What would it have been like if we were sitting here on this show talking about football while there's wildfires burning and potentially a game at Autzen Stadium on a Saturday? Suddenly, the whole thing gets put in perspective for you, doesn't it? Hope everybody stays safe. It really is horrible, everything that's going on out there. Meanwhile, as we'll transition now to try and give everybody a little bit of normalcy, and we're actually going to have a really good show today. Mike Mennenga is going to join us, Oregon men's basketball assistant coach, and that's cool because it's in conjunction with the Be Oregon website launch. More on that in a second. Diamador Lenore heading to the NFL. Our Oregon Imaging Center's inside look at the career of Diamador Lenore. He announced on Twitter that he came back to the University of Oregon excited to play his senior season, unfortunately with COVID-19. And although he's very disappointed, he's said, quote, "I'm learning to trust God's plan and excited for the future. A lifelong dream of mine has been to say these words. So without further ado, I'll be declaring for the 2021 NFL Draft." Thank you, Oregon. #ScoDucks from Diamador Lenore. You can read his entire statement to fans, coaches, all the thank yous on his Twitter at @DD_Lenore. They call him Mr. Bump and Run. A pretty great statistic for Diamador Lenore from Pro Football Focus today. He only missed 8 of his 137 tackle attempts across 3 seasons at Oregon. He missed 8 tackles in 137 attempts. Remember, this is a quarterback. He's out in the open field a lot. So Diamador Lenore, wish you nothing but the best. I echo what Coach Cristobal tweeted today. God bless and forever grateful. He is the second Duck to say that he is going for the NFL, and I think Duck fans in general, we all wish Diamador Lenore the best. Established in 1988, Oregon Imaging Centers would like to remind you that you have a voice in choosing your medical imaging provider. Choose quality, choose service, choose Oregon Imaging Centers. The choice is yours. Before we talk to Mike Mennenga, I see that he's just connected, Oregon men's basketball assistant coach. Some of the details on the Be Oregon website launch. It is officially live today via Goducks.com. It's accessible via Goducks.com under the About tab, and go down to the groups and affiliations, and you'll see Be Oregon. Awesome stuff, some great content, many of which we'll discuss over the next few weeks. But one of the coolest parts is it actually has a true explanation of the colorway. Now remember, the Be Oregon colorway is that sort of rainbow duck head that many of you have seen. Well, many of you probably remember we talked about this when it launched, and I feel like I haven't done a good enough job of reminding people what this colorway means. So the different colors, it's supposed to be a spectrum of some different words to think about, right? Voice, respect, diversity, inclusion, education. That's what the colorway rainbow, if you will, represents in Be Oregon. The first of a series of Student Athletes Reimagined posts is also from Bella Satillo. She's from Oregon Women's Golf. She wrote about how she stands with the Black Lives Matter movement. These have been great. I'm really excited to see where these go. You can find them on the Be Oregon website. It's part of an ongoing series about Student Athletes Reimagined, posts from the student athletes themselves talking about what Be Oregon means to them. I encourage you to read it. Check it out on GoDucks.com, and we'll be talking more about this in the coming days. Now, I'm already running a little bit behind. This happens for me. So, Mike, I'm sorry. I know you're connected. Give me a couple minutes here. He's shaking his head because he's a pro, and he knows that I get behind with my things here. But I did want to play for everybody the Be Oregon video. So this came out when Be Oregon launched, and you'll see that it's actually going to take us right into some of the things we're going to discuss with Mike Mennenga here in just a moment, that it just summarizes what Be Oregon stands for so well. And I thought, hey, the video's on the website. Maybe you've seen the video, you've heard the video before, but we should play it again the day that the Be Oregon website launches.
When ducks dream, they hear crowds. When they dream, they see seconds on the clock. They fly over the pitch. When ducks dream, they don't see fearmongers, the haters, the bullies, or those who speak from a place of fear. Ducks by nature are not fearful. There is no room for hate in our arenas. Intolerance will find no quarter on our fields. To all the bullies and those who speak from places of ignorance and fear, know that our greatest strength is our diversity. Because sport does not care what you look like. Sport is not interested in what you believe or who you love. Sport builds bridges and brings people together. Sport demands to be played, and all ducks come to play. Be true. Be Oregon.
Good stuff, and what a great way to celebrate the launch of the Be Oregon website with that message, and I think it's a great thing to think about with everything going on in the world right now. Up next, we're going to talk to Mike Mennenga about the Keep It 100 initiative that he's a big part of. We're going to talk a little bit about Be Oregon, and also, how about some basketball? Yeah, I think we could all use that right about now. We're going to talk to Mike Mennenga, Oregon men's basketball assistant coach, right after this. Stick with us. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. More coming up inside the Country Financial Studio on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio, and joining us via the Zoom line, it's Mike Mennenga, all the way, it looks like, from his home office, which is really, as the crow flies, Mike, not all that far from here. But I got to tell you, since we haven't seen anybody in person and I can't walk down the hall to your office anymore, everybody feels so far away from us in the athletic department now, because it's pretty much me, Scott, and most days that's it in here these days. So, Coach, thanks for taking the time to join us. First of all, just how are things? I mean, 2020's been a heck of a year, huh?
It's been hectic is one of the many adjectives you can explain it. And then obviously with, before we get going, Joe, I think it's, just want to make sure that all our fellow Oregonians and Ducks that are, with their families and making decisions with families based on what's going on in Blue River and Medford and the Salem area. Our thoughts and prayers are with you all the way. I am originally from Illinois and it's flat land there, and I have grown to respect and appreciate the beautiful region that we live in. But with that, the forces of Mother Nature come into play too. And I just wanted to look just from the men's basketball pro and athletics, we're thinking about our fellow Oregonians right now too.
Well, I echo that too. And Mike, I think it's important to know, you and I were just talking during the break. I mean, on our personal note, just one thing that connects us, the basketball academy that's out that direction. I know you guys are close to those folks, and that's got to be difficult for everybody.
Well, and what they told us, I mean, obviously Blue River, they're at the 50-yard line, half court of what was happening. So they're still taking that all in on accounting for what they have with their facilities. But for all the support staff and the coaches, they got out and evacuated. It was interesting. Some ended up going to Sisters. Some ended up coming back over here to this side of things in the Thurston area where you're from, Joey. So,
right.
It just goes to show you at that moment how hectic it was, evacuating.
Yeah.
So, again, thoughts and prayers with all of our fellow Oregonians and what they're dealing with now with this.
That's well said. Coach Mike Mennenga joining us. And this is one of those things, Mike, you and I scheduled this interview a week ago, and I was hoping that it was going to be like, well, let's have some fun today, and unfortunately it isn't always that. With that in mind, Mike, I guess, maybe the obvious question is, how's life changed for you since March? You and I haven't seen each other in person since we were both trying to figure out a way to fly home with the men's basketball team from Las Vegas. So, I mean, how's life different for you these days?
It's really different. I mean, obviously, as from a coach's perspective, and obviously being at home for a long period of time, like I have not been out of the state of Oregon, since Vegas,
Yeah.
So obviously as a recruiter and a person on the move in that business, you're always all about. So there's been two sides to that. Some family time has been wonderful with my family. The downside of this is not my office, Joey. This is my wife's. If you guys would only know what my office was, the wheels of Oregon basketball on Coach Mennenga's side turn in the corner of my garage.
Got it.
I talk too loud. I got coach voice when I talk. So, I get reprimanded to the garage when it comes time to get it going for the Ducks. So that being said, just like anybody else, Joey, trying to get a little bit of a routine going. As the competitor in our program is just like, well, everybody's dealing, with, whether it's COVID issues or the social unrest issues. And, it's just basically how you handle that. We got to be better than the competition in all those facets. So I guess we've gotten creative, and one of the things we like to take pride in is on the basketball courts, the versatility of our players. So our versatility and how we conduct business as well has been something that we've had to be careful of and take into consideration too.
Mike Mennenga joining us, Oregon men's basketball assistant coach. I know you can't talk specifics, Mike, because we don't want any unfortunate emails from NCAA compliance, but I do want to ask you just a little bit about how your recruiting strategies have changed. I mean, you mentioned you haven't left the state of Oregon. I mean, that's that's super weird if you're trying to recruit guys. I mean, what's that been like? What's the process of recruiting been like the last 6 months?
I mean, it has. I mean, I'll say this: a lot of people are dealing with the same elements, but here at the University of Oregon, we can't change our geographic location, just the location, and we are a national program. So you look at our roster, whether it's women's basketball, men's basketball, football, track, all of our programs, we're across the world. So Zoom technology has been a huge proponent of recruiting. Since this COVID era has broken out, and obviously FaceTiming. Even more so, just trying to connect with the athletes and them accessible to you. And one great thing about Oregon is just, and I always brag about it to you about this, Joey, is just like the whole athletic department competes for championships. So even if track's putting something out, we share that with our recruits. You know what I mean? The success of our other programs also really, really help now in providing content and really painting a picture and a vision, whether you are in California or whether you are in New York City. I think that's one of the things about recruiting to a place like Oregon. It gives you a lot to choose from and how to present it. So in times like this, we could still hold that standard. So, a big part of that goes the mentorship of Coach Stubblefield in our program. Coach Stubbs is maybe arguably the best recruiter in the country, and I've been awesome to be mentored by him and to partner with him. So, needless to say, the program I feel like is in a great place. We're excited about the season, and we like the positions we're in for the future as well.
Let's talk a little bit about that, Coach. I mean, just what are you guys doing with the guys right now? And, you can talk to some of them from afar. Some of them are here. I mean, can you just give fans kind of a sense of what workouts are look like, and how do you go about getting ready for a season in kind of these unknown waters, unknown times?
Great question. Well, one thing about it, that helps here, the state of Oregon in general has an amazing job from a position of handling COVID and approaching it. And that's trickled down to Rob and our university and the conference and the protocols that we set. So right now, Joey, we got half our team here, another half of the guys. Coach has been real flexible, as far as through this piece of where it's best for you, to be where you're comfortable at. I think a lot of this is a family decision and each individual's decision where they want to be. So the young men that we've had here through protocols, they got access to our weight room. They got access to our facilities. It's all individual workout based. So we're still somewhat in summertime mode, even though school year is approaching. But it's been productive. I mean, I'll be honest with the guys that are on campus have gotten a lot out of the individual attention. Like I said, our strength and conditioning staff and sports performance center, as you all know, Duck fans, is top of the line. So the more time you can get individualized with our strength coaches, Dale Boyd and Coach Evan, I mean, it's just better for you. So like I said, Joey, we just are trying to make the most of the situation and be better than everybody else at what we're dealing with right now. So we're all anxious to get back to it, but needless to say, I think individually each guy has had their own approach that we've worked with, and it seems to be guys are making progress. So we're excited.
Yeah, I think that's cool to hear. That you kind of just have to do that, right? I mean, we all know that this sucks. I mean, we can all just come out and say that this is not what we were hoping for, and you still got to try and make the best of it because I guess with that in mind, I want to break down the roster with you a little bit, Mike, but there's all these different ideas out there of, you could play then, you could play another day. I know the NCAA is going to make a decision on that coming up on the 16th. I mean, how often do the coaches talk about this kind of stuff, Mike? I mean, imagine you and your connections, you guys must all be running through all these different kinds of ideas and scenarios, and that's got to just be maddening, I'd imagine.
I'll say this, Joey, as you know, in any coach's circle, we sit around and visit and talk and everything all the time. So you can imagine all the speculation and the rumors with that piece. But it falls back to that date. The NCAA is going to make some decisions on September 16th. Obviously I'm cautiously optimistic.
Right.
It's probably the best thing we can hope for now. I think one thing that has shown, Joey, about the game of basketball per se, from the way the NBA has handled the situation and what they're doing right now, it's incredible. I think they've really come out the gate and, set up certain protocols. And there's always a trickle-down effect from the league to college. So I think that's an advantage and a thumbs up to be optimistic. So, again, we're hopeful that we'll get some good news on September 16th. I know they got several different dates that the NCAA is considering around that Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year area. You know what I mean? But even after that, Joey, you have to jump the hoops through what your state is doing. You know, even though the NCAA is saying one thing, we are in the state of Oregon, so we got to follow mandates and laws are set forth by the state, and then obviously by the Pac-12. So even though we are optimistic, and September 16th seems to be the next date that we're going to benchmark from, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think for me, that's been the worst part is you kind of hurry up with all these different models and then you just wait. You know, it's the ultimate hurry up, wait. And we all hope that we can get back to some semblance of normalcy, and basketball might be the first one that lets us do that. We'll see what happens with the Pac-12 and daily testing, Mike. I mean, the Pac-12's announcement, I felt like that last week was just some really good news, Coach. I mean, that had to make coaches happy that you were going to have that sort of, I guess, peace of mind coming to campus here by the end of the month.
100%. I mean, not only peace of mind for you individually, but obviously, you know, you care for your players just like they're your family, they're your, you know, and so forth. So to be able to turn around that type of testing and to kind of get that status of where you're at, you know, moving forward, I mean, it is a great peace of mind. I think it's a significant step to normalcy in the COVID part of what we're dealing with now. So again, Joey, there are some significant pieces to be optimistic about. But again, there's benchmarks and obviously organizations that are going to be making decisions that we'll have to fall in line with. In the meantime, we'll just continue to just stick with our day-to-day. And like I said, our guys have been awesome. We got like a real experienced veteran group, that has won before. And again, we're looking forward to the year. But obviously, first things first, we got to be safe. And we just got to lock into whatever the mandates that are given to us.
I want to talk with you about the roster outlook. I also want to get into the Keep It 100 initiative and talk a little B Oregon with you too, Coach. Can I get a quick timeout, come back, spend a little more time with you?
Absolutely.
All right, Mike Mennenga joining us, Oregon men's basketball assistant coach. We got a lot more still to come. It's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. More coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a country financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local country representative.
All it takes is one drop to make a wave. One beat to inspire a track. One spark to get creativity flowing. With every drop, Life Water refreshes your mind and restores your body. Purified water, pH balanced with electrolytes for taste. Designed with original works of art on every bottle. Let us be your source of inspiration. Life Water, the feel-good water.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
Football
I want to be a
stadium.
bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Oh, we're talking during the break as we welcome you back to Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're talking a little NBA, so now I got to ask, as Mike Mennenga, Oregon men's basketball assistant coach, rejoins us. Coach, I mean, who's winning it all? I mean, who you picking here right now? Right now.
Joey, so there's two pieces going on here. So obviously I'm a coach, so I got a coach's head to my decision. And then also I'm a fan. I love the NBA. It's fantastic. You know what I mean? So I got fandom going too. So my fandom is hardcore for the Raptors. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I just like the underdog. I just like the idea of Kawhi leaving and those guys now looking around, be like, hey, we're going to take ownership of this. We're going to hold the standard. And obviously we have a duck there. Anytime a duck's in contention for a championship ring, that'll be Chris's number 2 maybe. You know what I mean? I'm all in. So I'm excited and on both sides, fan and coach, to see how they respond to the Celtics today. But if I had to go for my coach's hat, after coming off LeBron, the way the Lakers looked last night, I almost think the Lakers probably got it today. But that changes like the stock market sometimes, you know what I mean? But I thought LeBron was pretty determined and fleet of foot, and I felt like they're the ones for right now, So
tough to bet against that guy.
What's that?
Tough to bet against that guy.
Yeah. Good job, Coach. Way to put your neck out on the line, right? So, needless to say, I really, really want Chris and Bull to experience as much as they can, with the playoffs and all those things, and then obviously talking to Chris, even his run when he was a two-way player with Golden State, how much he picked up from that, and then obviously Jordan winning a championship. So, it's always good to see other, fellow Ducks, alumni Ducks, keep that championship tradition going.
I like it. Yeah, lots of pro Ducks in the NBA, in the Coach Altman, Coach Mennenga era. It's been a lot of fun to see. Break down the depth of this current team for us. Just give fans an idea of kind of where the roster's at. And I know you guys only have half the guys here, but everybody's still doing their workouts as best they can. What's the roster look like this year? It's a veteran group, Coach.
It's a veteran group. I think Coach Altman will be the first to admit that he really loves the idea of how experienced we are. So we got guys with a lot of minutes under their belt and who won at a high level. So you think about Will Richardson's going into his junior year. You know what I mean? I mean, right now, ever since Will has been here, Will has won a championship in every season that he's been at Oregon. So he won a Pac-12 championship in Vegas. He went to a Sweet 16 as a freshman. He won a Pac-12 regular season championship this year, and who knows what else could have happened. So when you start thinking about those returning guys, you know what I mean? Like, Will, like Infali Dante won a championship. Chris Duarte won a championship, so our baseline returning guys have won before and have a confidence in the system that what coach wants from them. Now, take it even a step further. We had 2 guys sitting out this year that we're super excited about too. Eric Williams from Duquesne and Eugene Omorui from Rutgers. Eric averaged 14.5 points a game at Duquesne, and he was with us all last year. He was our practice. He was on the scout team, going and seeing, taking that all in and how that came together. And then obviously Eugene, was the captain at Rutgers, came in alongside Eric, saw how we did things, and now he's coming back trying to hold that standard. Both those guys came here to compete and win a national championship. So I love that for them. And then taking us back to our returns, you talk about Will, you talk about Chris, you got to think in Dante. How about rock steady Chandler Lawson?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, a freshman who pretty much started his entire freshman season. And now you got him coming back as a sophomore. And you're talking about a young man who's from a basketball family. He's 6'8", 6'9", with a way beyond wingspan.
Yeah.
And all these guys are just great guys. You know what I mean? And they are into each other and they're excited. So you think about those pieces that returned, Eugene, Eric, and then a new face, Duck fans, that was on our sideline last year, but redshirted and now be with us is Luke War from Omaha, Nebraska. You're going to love his versatility. He shoots it. He's athletic. He blocks shots. He's just going into his freshman year technically, so he's going to be around for a little while. You know what I mean? So Luke's going to have the privilege to play with and under like guys like Eugene and grow with them. And he saw what we did last year. So Luke's going to be a great piece for us in that regard. So Joey, that's our baseline. And then we're adding guys that our experience, and they want to win too. That's why they chose to be here. So we start getting into guys like Amari Hardy, the grad transfer from UNLV, proven scorer from the Mountain West, wants to go to the NCAA tournament. You segue that into LJ Figueroa, the transfer from St. John's. We're still hoping the NCAA will let us know what's going on with LJ, but LJ is one of the best players in the Big East, you start, putting those pieces, into the mix, and you can see why we're optimistic of why we want the season to be on time.
Yes.
And I guess, shoot, we're eager to defend our championship, Joey, if you really, whether it's regular season or summer, championship's a championship. So we're going for 3 in a row here in Eugene, I think this group right here, has the experience and the skill set, and they're locked in with coach. I think they get it. You know what I mean? It's not like a young group coming into this and we don't know how they're going to react to it. I think they get it, so just like anything else, a coach can only take you so far. At some point, they're going to have to take ownership of themselves in the locker room. As a coach, my favorite words, you may be surprised that when it gets February, March, when you're about to give instructions, they'll come to you and be like, no, we got this, coach. You just sit right there, coach. We got this. We got this. So I like to tell the fellas I turn into the best cheerleader in March if you let me.
Only if you let me, though. I like that. That's great. Mike Mennenga joining us. That's awesome to hear. It sounds like the roster is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. Coach, I do want to transition a little bit, and we'll have to do this again here because I got so many other things that I could talk to you about. Tell us a little bit about the Keep It 100 initiative, Coach. I've been talking about it. We played your initial video from a couple weeks ago, and just how important that voter registration piece, and also educating the student athletes and just young people in general about the importance of voting. Tell fans about that Keep It 100 initiative.
Well, it's awesome. Keep It 100. So again, what we're trying to do here is we're going to keep it 100. You know what I mean?
I like
so
the
we're
O.
flashing 2 duck O's at them. And basically, Joey, it's a 3-part process where we want 100% voter registration for our athletes. We want 100% voter education and the participation for our athletes. One thing to register, you got to get them to vote after they register. So that we're going to keep it moving there. So the program continues. And then the final piece, just because the election is over with on November from the presidential standpoint, this is a lifetime commitment to change. So when we're registering our athletes to vote, we want them to know this is a lifetime commitment to voting. So lifetime commitment to voting, lifetime commitment to your stand against racism and hate. So whatever side of the aisle you're on, you know what I mean, where you find your why at, I think that's one place where we could all come together on, is that this society is over and taking a stand against racism and hate. So those are our 3 pieces to Keep It 100. And we certainly are super excited about Rob Mullins, our athletic director, the Pac-12. They've gotten behind this. So our goal right now, Joey, is to have all of our athletes registered by September 22nd. That's National Voter Registration Day. And we got Jess Harley from B Oregon has been amazing. You saw their website. You were talking about it. They're taking it to another level. So we've partnered with B Oregon, our Black Student Union, and the Osberg on-campus students office, which Osberg year to year on campuses across the country, they lead the charge on registering students to vote and getting them to participate in voting. So we certainly appreciate their professionalism and expertise as we move forward. So again, this is, you can't do this, 1, 2, 3, 10 people. This is a collective effort. So our deal is, when you're a duck, you're a champion. So we might as well champion change as we champion football, basketball, track, softball, you name it. We'll go ahead and champion this too.
I love it. I think it's a great initiative. And, one of the things I always remember from growing up in history class, journalism class, really every class, is that you got to have an informed electorate. And in order to have an informed electorate, you got to have people that understand why voting is so important. I think we can all agree, like Coach said, whatever side of the aisle you're on, I think voting is a big deal here in the United States of America.
I think, Joey, I will say this, Joey, and I'll leave, and I know you probably got to go, but voting's that piece. Obviously, there's a lot of social unrest going on, and you can take your pick, from the police to, the education reform in certain areas. You could take your issue. At the end of the day, voting is a great platform to not only influence your individual change, but it's a great place to begin conversation. And it's a great place to kind of, open up dialogue. And at the end of the day, Joey, not only are we trying to, hey, athletes, fill out this form, we're empowering you guys. We want them to really, really appreciate the platform. I think that's one thing that the NBA's done an amazing job at, is showing young people and young athletes in particular the power of their platform, and what that can do. So again, Joey, I appreciate you bringing it up. The Ducks are going to no doubt keep it 100 all the way.
I love it. Mike Mennenga, I think it's a great message. You can see more about that as part of the new Be Oregon website. I encourage you to check it out via GoDucks.com, that About tab. Mike Mennenga, a big reason that all this is happening, and I thank you for your time and also for everything that you do, Coach. Hey, keep making the Ducks great. Stay safe to you and your family, and we'll have to do this again, all right? We're going to have to catch up and probably talk a little bit about the draft, huh? You guys are going to have another few pro Ducks, we hope, here in the next coming days, huh?
Yes, we will. Very excited for Peyton. And then we're starting to get some feedback on our other guys. You know what I mean? A little throwback from the past. Our guy, Casey Benson, I'm going to throw him in there. He just got a new deal in Slovenia. So
nice.
Casey's going to be bouncing out here this weekend. So Anthony Mathis is in Greece already. Nice. So, one thing that's really cool about Coach Altman and all this era is like every basketball Duck that's left here, graduate here, regardless of the NBA, they're playing professionally. They played professionally. So the basketball continues to bounce even after you leave Eugene, Oregon. So it's pretty cool stuff. And I don't know what you think, Duck fans. I kind of like Joey Mack with the hair. Keep it going, Joey. Keep it going, man. Keep it going.
I almost made it through an entire interview without the hair coming up today.
By the time hoop season runs around, man, you're going to be headband worthy, bro. We'll throw your headband on there, bro. You good.
Mike, you have no idea. When I run now, it's like, I'm already there. Like, yeah.
You can totally pull the headband off.
Thank you.
Totally.
Maybe that'll be my broadcaster's, what I'm known for. That'll be my thing is I'll have the headband underneath the headset.
Socks and your headband.
Yeah.
You got the socks thing around your feet. That's your thing, Joey, the socks.
That's true. Socks and headbands. I never knew that I'd be so accessorized in my 20s.
As they say, Joey, you're built for it.
Thank you. Mike Mennenga, assistant coach, Oregon men's basketball. Coach, we'll do this again. Thanks for the time. And, hey, go get them out there, huh?
Let's go. Go Ducks.
All right, Mike Mennenga. That was great. Assistant coach, Oregon men's basketball. A lot to talk about there. We'll unpack a few of those things when we come back. It's Stuck Inside, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Back inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a
of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Well, we're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you. Jackson Food Stores, proud sponsor of the University of Oregon Ducks. Stop by your neighborhood Jacksons for all your game day essentials with everyday specials on all the necessities that you'll need for the big game. Go Ducks. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for joining us again today. I thought that Mike Mennenga was great. You know, we don't want to get too political on a sports show. I get that. You know, sports are where people like to come for an escape. But can we all agree? I mean, voting is what makes this fundamentally important. And so I just love the message from Mike Mennenga, and he's passionate about it, and you can see that, and you can see why. Also, just talking about the roster for a second, I mean, so just to clarify, you know, we're still waiting on the NCAA ruling on LJ Figueroa. He's really good, guys. Probably one of the top 3 players in the Big East, and now coming here to play for the Ducks. And that eligibility is really important for the Ducks this season. And I do want to reiterate, you know, we asked Coach about how do you figure out how you're going to play, you're going to prepare, what are all these different scenarios, et cetera. And I love what Coach said, like, well, September 16th is kind of a benchmark, but we don't really know what's going to happen after that. Because remember, the Pac-12 has suspended all activities through the end of the calendar year, but Larry Scott did leave the door open with the now onset of rapid daily testing that will be on every Pac-12 campus by the end of the month. That kind of left the door open, and Larry Scott said, yeah, we're always going to examine. We're always going to be looking at these things. And I think that makes a lot of sense. You always have to make decisions based on the information in front of you. Does that mean that basketball could start a little earlier? We don't know. But could it? Maybe. The NCAA says, you know, November 25th, December 4th, all these different dates have been thrown out there. Sure. I'd like to spend Thanksgiving with some basketball again. And also, that means that I could cut my hair. No, Scott, you, as much as everybody seems to love it, I think they love it because it's weird right now. It's not really that lovable. It's just unique right now.
It has become it's like your thing now. You got to do it.
Do I need a thing?
Remember Brian Bosworth with his mohawk?
Oh.
This is you, man.
Don't people know me enough already? The dopey dork with glasses who talks about sports.
But if you had the headband on and you rocked that, oh, that would look awesome.
I really don't think I could pull off the headband. When Coach Mennenga was like, yeah, you can pull off the headband, I was like, what face are you looking at, Coach? But, yeah, remember I said, day we play sports, be the day that I can cut it. And so I'm all in favor of the earlier start to basketball. Duck Insider stands for that. We're all in. You know, it's already 48 after the hour. We have a 12-and-a-half-minute interview with Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling. I messed that up. I timed it bad today, which means we're probably just going to save that for tomorrow, I think. I'd like to give them their due because I do have a few other things that I want to talk about today, including something else that Coach Mennenga mentioned, which was the draft. So Peyton Pritchard, we're pretty darn excited about that. And remember that there's been so many different conversations about where's the draft going to end up? I don't know. I just am so happy for Peyton Pritchard to get that opportunity, especially after and this is maybe a little bit self-serving as a Duck fan and the Oregon broadcaster for men's basketball. But Peyton showed that you don't have to just leave right away, go to the NBA out of college, and have it work out poorly. Peyton, I think, raised his draft stock his last year. Added that little mid-range jump shot that he worked really hard on. His three-pointer was consistently really good. And his ability to put his head down and score, I thought, improved tremendously this past year. And that, to me, is just kind of a cool thing as a fan of college sports I just really enjoyed watching Peyton Pritchard grow to that level and see him now get the NBA attention that we all knew and thought that he deserved anyway. That was just cool to see. And I'm glad that guys like Mike Mennenga are seeing that's just an awesome piece of Peyton Pritchard's sort of legacy now as an Oregonian, as arguably the best high school basketball player Oregon has ever seen. And now he's in the top 5 in basically every category in the Oregon men's basketball record book. So just seeing that is cool, and I hope that he's a first-round pick and he just has a long NBA career. And, you know, the funny thing with a guy like Peyton is he's going to be successful no matter where he goes just because he's such a competitor. My favorite line that Coach Altman has ever mentioned to me about Peyton Pritchard is that Peyton keeps score of everything. And Coach went on to elaborate that, like, guys could just be shooting around in the gym. Peyton's going to make a game out of it, and he's going to win. And if he doesn't win, he's going to be upset. And he's going to find a way to win next time. He's so competitive. And that's really hard to quantify statistically. But you talk to coaches, and you hear them talk about some guys that are just more competitive than others. Peyton fits that category. And that's not a knock at anybody else. That's just an exceptional trait of a guy like Peyton Pritchard. I think that there's been a number of Ducks over the years, obviously, and ones that I've been fortunate enough to be around and call their games that you see that. You see that trait. So now for a guy like that, we all hope that he has those big NBA dreams. But if it doesn't work out that way, Peyton's going to be fine. Yeah. Peyton's going to be just fine.
He's a winner.
Probably playing basketball somewhere, but he's going to be just fine. Your Cafe 2-minute drill is still to come. We've got some news on some pro Ducks. Also, a current women's golf student athlete. She's participating in a tournament. We've got live Duck sports. Kind of. More on that in a minute. Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Back inside the Country Financial Studio after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Today's show brought to you by Shadow Hills Country Club, your family resort, just minutes from home. Call for a tour today. And by North Fork Public House. Open for dine-in and takeout, northforkeugene.com. Your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, some other news and notes from around Oregon athletics and beyond. Let's just say that our connection to the show, or our connection on the show with the athletic department, I always say that wrong, is such that NCAA compliance guidelines govern what we talk about. You all know this. We've been upfront about this. But social media, we see the same things that you do. And shall we say that recruiting is going well for Oregon football? Recruiting is trending well. Did I say that right? I think I said that right. And I don't think that I broke any guidelines there. Meanwhile, Gwen Savekis went first overall again in the Athletes Unlimited League. That's after her squad went 3-0 in that Athletes Unlimited League. She was again in the top 10 in individual point scorers. Really, really impressive for Gwen Savekis. To team Kat Osterman again. It helps to have arguably the best pitcher in the world on your team and who's drafting the team. But for Athletes Unlimited, it's been a lot of fun to watch. I hope that fans have enjoyed it. I've gotten a real kick out of it, just tuning in and following along, watching live softball with the best players in the world. I mean, these are players that are competing for Olympic gold medals, and that's usually sort of, the World Cup, the Olympics. That's the best level of softball, and it's been nice with the National Pro Fast Pitch League, but really this is cool. I mean, you can just tell that they're having a great time doing it. I think fans are engaging, and I really hope that Athletes Unlimited succeeds, not just for our products, but just for the sport of softball in general. Garrett Clevenger has been added to the Phillies roster. That was announced today. The Vulture. You know how many times that guy came in the 7th inning in a tie game, Techno Chicken played, and then the Ducks won? You know how many times that happened with Garrett Clevenger? He's been added to the Phillies roster. Todd Miles from Oregon Athletic Communications notes that the Phillies have doubleheaders on Friday and Sunday, so his first appearance could be coming. Also, women's golf, their All-American is ready in the European Ladies Team Championship. Sophie Kibsgaard-Nielsen representing Denmark. We've got a duck competing in live golf. I'm in. And good luck to Sophie. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Cafe Yum restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington. CafeYum.com for all your info. See you tomorrow.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding